We've got breaking news. Dotsie Bausch, founder of Switch for Good, brings us the very latest on her increasingly successful campaign to get Starbucks to drop its surcharge on plant-based milks. Take it away, Dotsie.
Oh my gosh. Well, on December 9th, we partnered with the Yes Men and we mounted a brand jacking campaign, starting with a spoof Starbucks announcement that they had eliminated the non-dairy upcharge. It wasn't true. It was full on brandalism. It was a spoof, but it certainly lit a fire. And 3.5 weeks later, they dropped the vegan milk surcharge in all 1,100 of their UK stores. So now we are pressing for US and Canada. There's 9,000 stores in the US, so it's a little bit more of a lift for them. But I think doing the right thing is always the right thing. So,
well, you've gotten incredible media coverage from mainstream media. I want to show the headline on Insider. Starbucks is finally dropping its surcharge for plant-based milk in the UK, but US customers will still have to pay extra. That is very significant because they're taking your talking point. They didn't just say the United Kingdom is not going to be charged extra for plant-based milks by the biggest coffee maker in the world. They kind of took it a step further and said, but US customers still have to pay extra. That's a victory for you because mainstream media doesn't often side with, let's say, the plant-based space. So how do you think this is impacting Starbucks? And I want to show one other slide here. This was the subheader on that story. Starbucks UK scrapping its extra charge for drinks made with non-dairy milk, but Starbucks customers in the US will still have to pay extra for plant-based milk. The chain is under pressure from activists, including PETA, to ditch the surcharge. Now, I know Switch for Good has led this campaign. Thankfully, there are other organizations as well that are joining the pack. It's a team effort, but what do you think's going on in the minds of Starbucks executives right now?
Yeah, it's certainly a team effort. I got to say that. I mean, Pete has been after this for a couple of years from obviously the animal rights perspective as well as the environmental perspective. And like you and I were saying earlier, it's just this collective forceful energy of all of us fighting for justice for all sorts of different reasons. And right now it is showing up in what I think is most important is normalizing plant milk, normalizing plant food, right? Like that's where we got to get where it's just completely normal to be ordering an oat milk latte or a soy milk latte. So that's the press. I think that Starbucks is 100%. We know that they're listening because we know the day after our December 9th campaign, when we called into their customer service, they had a form paragraph that they read that said why they have to charge this upcharge, because it really just costs them so much more. So they have to pass it on to the customer. But the recent piece in Yahoo News that came out last week, that writer did a fantastic job really diving into why plant milk is more, and for Starbucks that it's really not that much more because they make their own coconut milk, their own almond milk, their own soy milk. The only plant milk that they buy is through their partnership with Oatly. So they are making their own other plant milk. So that plummets the price down even further. From our calculations, it's really only somewhere between about 8 or 9 cents to maybe 20 cents more. Starbucks charges 70 or 80 cents depending on where you are. And they charge the same amount of an upcharge, whether it's a tall or a venti. So that tells you something right there that it's certainly not exact. And they give away cream, cow's milk cream, for free. In the must be hundreds of thousands of gallons of free cream. So this argument that they have to pass this on to the customer, no they don't. No they don't, because when up to 95% of people of color cannot digest dairy, and then Starbucks charges extra for that, we think that is dietary racism, even if it's unintentional. And I do believe that it's unintentional, but it's time to wake up and smell the coffee with the plant milk. And that's why we created the Justice Cup, the campaign around it, because it's time for equality in our food for people from all sorts of different ethnicities and from all over the world.
Well, you've raised the pressure by placing a big ad in a particular newspaper. Tell us about the strategy and the reaction to that major newspaper ad you just placed. This is breaking news.
Yeah, we placed an ad that 22 wonderful humans, physicians, movie stars, athletes signed. And it was in the Seattle Times, right, where the headquarters of Starbucks is. And it was to their CEO and to their chief inclusion and diversity officer. And this was kind of the velvet hammer approach. This was an approach that we took that said, hey, high five, thank you. Great move in the UK. Now let's replicate it here. And anybody can go to the website and read the letter. Right now, we've just started today a campaign for people to take that letter and copy it. Just one piece of paper. We think this is going to be worth the environmental trade-off. Send it to Starbucks headquarters with a handwritten note how important it is that this vegan surcharge get removed.
Now, people can do that by going to Switch for Good and downloading the letter.
Yeah, they can download the PDF. We're also sending it out to our, 45,000 newsletter list, and we're going to put it on social media. So the people listening to this, if you're not on our newsletter list, well, you can certainly go sign up at switchforgood.org. And if you're not, look on social, and it'll have the exact directions of what we're looking for, because we're looking for snail mail. We're looking for 100, 200, 300 showing up at their office saying this matters. I think it's just, well, I know when I get mail, snail mail like that from Olympic fans or something, it's so much more meaningful than an email. So it's resending that ad that says, this is important, and this is why it matters to me. This is why it matters to my family. This is why, personally, I feel like this is something that you have to do the right thing.
And I want to say, for those who are not aware, I'm sure almost everybody is, this is not just anybody asking. This is Dotsie Bausch, Olympian. You are the epitome of fitness and health. Starbucks purports to be a progressive company that cares about people, that cares about health, that cares about the environment. Obviously, the carbon footprint of cow's milk is exponentially higher than the plant-based milks. If you had an opportunity to talk one-on-one, you jump into an elevator and there is the head of Starbucks and you've got your 30-second elevator pitch, what do you say to him?
I would say it's never the wrong time to do the right thing. I absolutely believe that they know in their hearts and in their that this is the right thing, and they have to figure out how to, lead with justice in their hearts and stand up and say, yes, this is a form of dietary racism when we are charging more for something that makes a majority of the people sick if they order it. I mean, if you go into a Starbucks and you get a cow's milk, in America alone, 36% of people are lactose intolerant, mostly people of color. You're making 1 in 3 people sick. So what part of that doesn't make you want to shift and do the right thing? In Starbucks, I would say, you just invested or have proposed to invest $1.6 billion in all of their, I'm going to get this right, their suppliers, diversifying their suppliers. Okay, that's great. You're standing up for the right thing there with the suppliers. Let's stand up for the right thing at the cash register at the stores themselves.
So let's talk very briefly about the environmental impact. Again, cow's milk is a much higher carbon footprint than any of the plant-based milks, exponentially higher. Starbucks has said they're concerned about the environment. They want to be on the right side of history. Yeah. Right there, shouldn't that be enough?
But they haven't done it, and that pressure has been put. They just keep, Jane, the drill. They just come out with these ridiculous statements on making. They have an initiative that's happening right now. I mean, I don't know how much their work they're doing on it, but to work towards the suppliers, the dairy suppliers that they use more sustainable. It's just taking a monster problem and instead of moving away from it, trying to pretend like you're going to be able to fix it when it takes 1,000 gallons of embedded water to produce only 1 gallon of milk. They're not going to be able to change that. They still have to, the cows have to have enough water. We have to have enough water for all the soybeans and crap that they feed the cows. And we have to have enough water to be able to clean. I mean, there's certain parts of it that are just they're never going to be able to really make a significant change on. Water's one of them.
So aside from Starbucks buckling and saying, yes, we're not going to punish people who prefer plant-based milks or lactose intolerant, how do you know you're making progress? Honestly, I think it's only a matter of time. I think that the pressure, when you have Business Insider saying this isn't Unchained TV. We obviously have an opinion, but Business Insider sides with business. Has this tipped and become bad business?
Yeah, I think that will be what breaks them, sadly, in a way that it wouldn't be all of the other reasons. But I do think that is what it will be in the end, is that pressure. And that Yahoo News piece, really exposed how much dairy is subsidized by our U.S. government, and that's your tax dollars paying for it. So it really exposed kind of the very unfair advantage, and that's why cow's milk is cheaper wherever you go, whether it's Costco or Starbucks, and so I think pieces like that as well is going to pressure them, too.
Well, you're doing an extraordinary job. Keep us posted.
Okay, I will.
This is breaking news. You can be a part of it. Go to switchforgood.org. You can download the letter. You can send the letter directly, handwritten, to the heads of Starbucks. You can sign all the efforts that are there on switchforgood.org. And my dog is saying she applauds your campaign. Thank you so much, Dotsie Bausch, Switch for Good, vegan Olympian.
Thanks, Jane. You're the best.